Welcome to the Traditional Way Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Shumway. This podcast is brought to you by the Martial Arts Center Network, where you can find all things martial arts related on our social media pages and the main app, available on Apple and Google stores, where you can catch up on all open circuit sport karate news with Inside Scoop, catch a movie review with Fists, Kicks, and Flicks, or find out what's happening in the Jiu-Jitsu and MMA worlds on the Winner's Circle, plus all of the sport karate videos from tournaments. On today's episode, we'll dive into the results from the last WKF event of the 2025 season, the Karate One Youth League event in Venice, Italy. Although this year was about 300 athletes less than last year, it still had 3,300 athletes present to compete at this event, representing 83 countries, which is up from 79 countries represented last year. Now, obviously, the home nation Italy had the most competitors, but what was a bit surprising was that Ukraine brought 221 athletes, Germany brought 180, and Croatia brought 150. Now, these are not countries that generally bring big numbers, so it is nice to see growth from these nations. Let's take a look at the winners from each division. We start in the cadet divisions with the world number 5 Desiree Rosario securing her first WKF medal in the minus 47 kilogram division. She cruised through the elimination bracket, outscoring her opponents 23-3 to make the final four, where she would require the Senchu to advance to the final, and she would win that fight 6-3. In the minus 54 kilogram division, we saw Veronika Filatova in her second WKF attempt work her way through the bracket, even though it was not easy for her. She required the Senchu advantage to make it out of 2 fights in the elimination rounds and advance to the semis, where she won 2-0, and then required the Senchu advantage again in the final, securing her first gold medal after an exciting 7-7 tied match. Now, there are some performances that just shock a division, and Zelda Muyen had one of those performances in the minus 61 kilogram division. She did not surrender a single point into the final, where she would face off against the world number 1 Hannah Songard and beat her 6-2 to win her first WKF medal of her young career. Another first-time medal winner in the over 61 kilogram division, as Madalena Santos fought her way through the bracket, outscoring her opponents 30-3 en route to the final, where she would defeat her opponent by a score of 6-2 to secure the gold medal. First-time medal winners are starting to become a theme in the cadets, as the minus 52 kilogram division saw Levani Dadeshkeliani fight through a tough bracket where he had only one match or he did not need to work to win, with all of his fights but one being decided by 1-2 points, until the final, where he would win that match by 6-1 to take home the gold. Ihas Bahudi steps up into the minus 57 kilogram division, as he went perfect through the bracket until the last fight in the elimination pool, where he would require the Senchu to advance to semifinals. But he'd win that match by a score of 6-4 and move into the final, where he won 2-0 to secure his first WKF medal. In the minus 63 kilogram division, Takamasa Yutoji remains unscathed within the WKF, as he wins his first gold of the day and continues his dominance over the cadets in the divisions that he does perform in. And by dominance, I mean that he won 4 out of the 6 matches by the 8-point spread. And in the 2 WKF events he has attended, he is outscoring his opponents by a 6-1 pace. Issa El Mazi had the event of his young career, flying through the elimination round without an issue. This was surprising, since in his 4 events within the WKF, he had only won 1 match until now. He ran into some issues in the semifinal round, where he required the Senchu to advance to the finals, but he did won that match due to disqualification of his opponent, securing his first ever WKF medal. And in the over 70 kilogram division, Alinar Kamilov only had 1 match that gave him any worry, and that was a semifinal round where he was awarded the decision following a 3-3 tied match. And that was the only adversary that he faced en route to his first WKF gold medal. He won the final 7-4. Now, the female kata saw a first-time athlete in the Shidaru stylist of Candela Garcia, walking through the elimination rounds, winning every match by a full point or more. She kept that pace up through the quarterfinals and semis, and into the final, where she ran Chatnara Kusanku, outscoring her opponent 24.9 to 24.4 to secure the gold medal in her first attempt within the WKF, a feat that rarely happens in this league. And in male kata, Takamasa Yutoji continues to be perfect as a two-way athlete, now steps into the male kata division, and no one would come close to beating him, as his mix of Goju and Shidaru katas were too much to overcome. His performance of Super Mpe in the final outscored his opponent 25.8 to 24.3. The juniors start off with a bang as Lee Liu Kumei knocks out the world number 1 in the final match of their elimination pool in the minus 48 kilogram division to advance into the semis, where she had no problem getting through that round and into the final, where she won 6-5 to secure her first gold as a junior. This is her second attempt since stepping up in age, and it appears that it didn't take too long for her to adjust. What a year Leonor Goncalves has had on the Youth League this year. And this event would be no different, as the world number 1 in the minus 53 kilogram division showed why she has that ranking. It doesn't look dominant if you just look at the scores, as historically, she hasn't been a high-scoring athlete. But the only close fight she had was the final, where she won that 5-3, giving her 4 golds on the Youth League this year between the cadet and junior categories. The minus 59 kilogram division was full of surprises, but none more than the performance of Tetiana Maleshko, who prior to this event hadn't won a single match in the WKF in her first 2 attempts. She struggled out of the gate, needing the Senchu to get out of the second round of the elimination pool, and then found her stride as she would win the semifinal round 4-1 and take the final by a score of 2-0 to secure the gold. The world number 2, Elisa Cataneo, brings her impressive 80% win rate into this event and put on a show in the minus 66 kilogram division. She had a couple of close fights in the elimination rounds, winning 2 rounds by 1 point, but then really turned it on in the final 4, where she won the semifinal round 8-1, and then moved into the final, where she left no doubt as she won that match 8-0. In the over 66 kilogram division, Ajlin Kurtanovic steps up into the juniors for the first time and had her best performance of her young career, outscoring her opponents 21.6 in the elimination rounds. She had to take out her countrywoman in the semifinals by a score of 5-3, and would take the final match 3-1 to win her first WKF medal. The young men started out in the minus 55 kilogram division, as world number 1 Maxim Vyechkinov needed some help to get out of the elimination round. In the last match of that round, he was losing 7-6 when his opponent committed too many penalties, and it caused Maxim to win by disqualification. He then went on to win the semifinal match 3-1, and the final 5-0 to secure his first gold as a junior in the junior age category, as he just stepped up. Now, in the Youth League, growth spurts affect divisions, and we see it in the minus 61 kilogram division, as the minus 55 kilogram world number 2 Philippe Hornack steps up in weight for the first time and struggled until the last fight of the elimination pool, where he would win that by the 8-point spread. Prior to that, he squeaked by with 1 point or Senchu advantage wins till that point. He did step up in the final 4 when he won that match 3-0 and took a close 3-2 win in the final to secure the gold medal. Kagan Aslan brings his 15-8 record into the minus 68 kilogram division and showed that there are many ways to get to the final. He won 2 of his matches in the elimination pool by a Senchu advantage and a decision. And then the semifinals, he was losing 5-3 to the world number 1 in the division when his opponent committed too many penalties and would be disqualified. He moved into the final, where he would decisively win that match 7-2, proving that you just need to get to the final to showcase your talent, as he wins his first WKF medal. Now, the minus 76 kilogram division shows sometimes a fighter is just on, and Logan Mendonça was on for this event. He walked through the elimination pool with only 1 match that was close, but it was the highest scoring match of the event, and one of the best I've ever seen in the WKF, where Logan edged out his opponent 14-13 in hands down the most exciting match of this entire event. In the semifinals, he gets by that round by a score of 4-3 and into the final, where he would take home the gold after a 3-1 victory. And in the over 76 kilogram division, Francesco Ferrarini proves that some people just perform better at home. And he came into the junior age category this year after winning the cadet division here last year. With only surrendering 1 point during the elimination rounds, he came into the semifinals hot and would not surrender another point on his way to winning the gold medal, taking the semis 6-0 and the final 1-0. One thing is for sure, if this event is in Venice, I like his chances on bringing home a gold. Female kata saw the return of Ria Hori, who apparently only does this event. She once again destroyed the competition in the elimination round, with the closest anyone came to beating her was losing by 1.3 points. In the quarterfinals, she takes out the world number 1 by 0.9 points, and in the semifinals, she takes out the world number 2 by 1 full point. In the final, her Chibana no Kusanku performance was enough to take home the gold by 0.8 points, as she remains perfect within the WKF. In male kata, you couldn't ask for a better final than the junior male kata, as world number 1, Martim Oliveira, and world number 2, Vasco Mateus, would both face off for the gold medal. Both athletes made quick work of the division with no one giving them a close match, and both cruising their way to the final, where it would be a showdown of Kusanku. Oliveira would choose Chibana, and Mateus would run Kishimoto. And in the end, it would be number 2 over number 1, as Mateus would win that match by a score of 25.3 to 24.2 to take home the gold. The women start out with Ludovica Legittimo in the minus 50 kilogram division, as the reigning junior world champion has made an effort to make a name for herself in the minus 50 kilogram division for both the U21 and veteran age categories in 2025. This year did not start out great, but she's made up for it at this event, cruising her way into the all-Italian final, where she would secure her first gold medal as an adult, winning that matchup 3-2. In the minus 55 kilogram division, Miguel Liutke Viote, takes her second attempt in the U21 age category, where she would outscore her opponents 13-2 in the elimination rounds, and move into the final 4, where she won that fight 5-2 and had a close fight in the final that she pulled out 3-2 to secure her first gold as an adult. And look out, minus 61 kilogram division, because Monica Arzumian had a birthday, and she is coming, bringing her 88.5% win rate with her. And she dominated this division. The closest anyone came to beating her was losing 6-2. She also won 3 out of her 5 matches by the 8-point spread. She would take the final 5-0 to secure her first medal as an adult. And I think she put a lot of people on notice in this division that is really up for grabs in 2026 as who's going to take over that top spot. In the minus 68 kilogram division, Irene Katsitka finally breaks through after 3 silvers at this event over her career. And she didn't have an easy way to the top, but she made it through the elimination rounds, needing the Sensu advantage to get through 2 fights. Then in the semifinals, she fought to a 0-0 draw and was awarded a decision by the judges to get to the final, where she had to face the world number 1. She decided to step up into another gear in that fight, as she would win the final 5-0 to score her first gold medal within her WKF career. In the most stacked division in the women's kumite, the over 68 kilogram division, found Daria Boulay make a statement every fight she had in the elimination rounds, because it was against a top 20 ranked athlete in either the U21 or veteran rankings. Now, she outscored them 22-3 to make it to the final 4. She won that matchup 9-5 against another top 10 ranked fighter, and in the final fight, she had the only fight she had against someone who is not in the top 20, and she won that match 9-4. Definitely putting her name in the hat for 2026 in this weight category for both the U21 and veterans ages. The men start out with the world number 1, Amin Abdelmaki, in cruise control through the elimination rounds with decisive wins through his first 3 fights. In the semifinals, he takes that round by a score of 6-0 and matches up against the world number 2 in the final, and they fight to a 3-3 tie, where Amin would win by having the Sensu advantage, as he would repeat as the winner of this event. In the minus 67 kilogram division, Guilherme Goncalves was up against the home crowd for almost the whole division. He had to fight through 4 Italians in a row to reach the finals, where he would win, but not by his doing. He was losing that final 5-0 when his opponent committed too many penalties and was disqualified, giving the match to Goncalves, also giving him his first gold medal as an adult, albeit not the way he was hoping to win one. Ricardo Franken punched above his ranking in the minus 75 kilogram division as he eased through the elimination bracket, outscoring his adversaries 19-4 en route to the semifinals, where he would fight the world number 2 to a 4-4 tie, and Franken would be awarded a decision. In the final, he faced off the world number 5, where he took that match 3-0 to secure his first gold medal as an adult. We had a newcomer in the minus 84 kilogram division, as Angelo Marino steps up in weight for the first time, and he had a weird day, as his first fight ended in a 0-0 tie and he was awarded a decision. Next, he beats the world number 4 10-2, and that fight would give him some motivation that he needed to sail through the rest of the bracket, winning the semifinal round 5-4, and then ending his day with another 0-0 draw in the final, where he'd be awarded a decision for the gold and his first medal as an adult. And in the over 84 kilogram division, we had another newcomer, as Yasin Sahad steps up into the U21 age category for the first time, and he demonstrated that fighting prowess that the Egyptian team is known for, as his defense is his offense, outscoring his opponents 35-17 in the elimination rounds. He wins the semifinals 9-7 and moves into the final where he wins that 6-2, obviously securing his first gold. Actually, it was his first gold in his WKF career, not just as an adult. In the female kata division, the world number 1 Jessica Valai outclassed the competition until she made it to the semifinals, where she would face off against her toughest opponent of the day in Mai Ling Bui. And this would be the best match in the division, as Bui's Super Empe came up just short to Valai's Chatnara Kusonku by 0.2 points. She would move into the final where her Chibana no Kusonku would beat her opponent by a half point to secure the gold medal. And the male kata had its biggest match in the last round of the elimination rounds, as world number 5 Vincenzo Papalario and world number 2, also reigning U21 world champion Anthony View, face off against one another. It was View's Paparin versus the Unsu of Papalario, where Papalario would pull off that victory by a 0.2 point margin. This had to be a boost in the young Italian's confidence, as he would destroy the competition after that, as Shotokan katas were too much for anyone to compete with, and no one would come within a full point of him on his way to the gold medal. And that's it for the WKF in 2025, and what a year it's been. Now, a lot of things happened this year that really surprised me. Obviously, some of the results from the World Championships are still on my mind. All I'm going to say on that is go back and watch the match between Giannami and Torres from Worlds and see if you agree with that outcome. Because honestly, I don't. If you watch it, hopefully you'll see what I see. I believe that that match is proof that the WKF needs to go back to judges on all 4 corners of the ring, or at the very least, front and back. Now, I get that they change the judges' views for aesthetics, how it looks on TV, makes it but they're missing mistakes that could be seen from the back. And it would be a game changer if they switched back to the way they used to do it. And the award for the biggest lead up to nothing goes to the WKF as a whole. Now, after watching their ads, I was expecting a huge change coming to the WKF. I thought that maybe an app or a major restructure to the competition format. Did we get any of that? Nope. We got a logo. Now, in fairness, logos are a lot of work and to get done and make everyone happy. But for Pete's sake, if you're going to go have Facebook Reels that get us all pumped up about a new era to the WKF, you got to come with something a little better than a logo. Personally, I feel extremely let down by this big announcement. Now, that was it. Now, they can call it, a complete rebranding of its visual identity. I mean, that sounds great, but in the end, it's just a dang logo. And here it is for future reference. And with that lackluster announcement to the end of the year, I want to thank you guys for tuning into another year of the traditional way. This will be my last show of the year, as like the WKF, I'll be taking my annual break off for the holidays and be returning in 2026 with a new season. Please continue to support the Martial Arts Center Network, as we have big things coming in 2026. Till next year, guys.